This is Dig It with Imani, the podcast.
Hello and welcome back to your favorite podcast, Dig It with Imani. And today we are focusing on cyber security. Joining me on the set is David and Elizabeth. Karibuni sana.
Karibu,
I would
karibu.
love to start with David before we go further. Tell us more about yourself and Cybersmart Africa.
All right, my name is David Mwepe. I am the lead coordinator of the African Cybersmart Network, which is an organization that is based in South Africa that is dedicated to advancing, digital literacy on the continent through public education, through awareness building, to really empower Africans with the knowledge, the skills, the understanding they need for them to be able to use digital technologies meaningfully and safely. By profession, I'm a cyber psychologist. I work as a cybersecurity awareness specialist, focusing on sensitizing communities, society about the risks that come with inappropriate use of technology, and the opportunities that exist as well in digital spaces, so as to governments and technology companies are focusing on rolling out digital solutions and different kinds of tools. It's important that these tools are put to good use if they are to benefit us in any way as a society and the different communities within society. So the most important thing is it's important that we have the knowledge spread as quickly, as fast as technology is spreading. So really that's who I am, and that's what the organization does, the African Cybersmart Network.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I see the good branding on your t-shirts, Cybersmart Tanzania. Can you also tell us more about that?
Yeah, Cybersmart Tanzania is a program under the Africa Think Tank Foundation. We have started a foundation called Africa Think Tank Foundation, a foundation that focuses on how best we can be more proactive than reactive. Given the fact that whatever that's happening in the first world and the second world is actually that comes to the third world, and we as the third world people try so hard to work out of it. And given the fact that also we have our Tanzania is a member of SADC, and with being a member of SADC, knowing that our brothers and sisters, they have some initiatives that have already started working. So Tanzania Africa Think Tank Foundation, it's a good opportunity to learn from our brothers and sisters what went well with them, and how it went well, or perhaps if it didn't went well, how can we do it better in Tanzania before the damage is there. As much as you know, in East Africa, Tanzania has been labeled like we are slow, steady, but sure.
I see. David, Cybersmart Tanzania is Cybersmart Africa is across SADC countries. I would love to know, what are the challenges that you are facing in promoting cybersecurity?
Yes. So through the establishment of the African Cybersmart Network, we are trying to, bring, us together as, citizens of, different Southern African countries, so that we can, through unity and collaboration and joint effort, really tackle, emerging societal challenges, particularly when it comes to, online safety, digital safety, cybersecurity. And so what we are doing is we are collaborating with organizations in different countries. In Tanzania, it's a collaboration with Africa's Think Tank Foundation to bring the Cybersmart Tanzania program to Tanzanians. Working with local partners. We have Cybersmart Botswana in Botswana. We're setting up partnerships with other organizations in different Southern African countries, Zambia, Namibia, Malawi, Lesotho, Eswatini, and South Africa. Really what we have observed, as society increasingly become digitalized, the knowledge, the know-how, is very low. The understanding of the power that these tools come with. The power in two ways. The power to really advance lives socially and economically. The studies that have been conducted that indicate that a majority of us are only using less than 10% of technology for meaningful purposes. You will have a very expensive smartphones, and all you use for it's selfies and texting and social media. And even young people who are struggling to find jobs. Maybe they dropped out of school, or maybe they didn't do well in school, they couldn't proceed to university, or they're graduates. You would find young people with expensive, very powerful phones, and you ask them, so what do you do with these phones? They tell you social media. So what are you doing in life? I'm doing nothing. And they don't have the understanding that they can use those tools to do free courses online, and get certificates that can help them in their job searching endeavors, or that can help them with skills that they can use to start businesses. And there's so much that can be done. And what we have observed is that the knowledge, the understanding is very low on how best to use these tools and how to put these tools to good use for social advancement, but also for safety. Because as we increasingly become digitalized, we are increasingly becoming vulnerable to risks, to threats that come with adoption of technology. And it's important that we have that understanding across communities and across society.
Who is most at risk?
Who is most at risk? Children especially. Children, we are all vulnerable online, but children are a lot more vulnerable, because you would find that in most households, in most homes, we give our children phones. We buy them phones. We give them access to the internet and technology, and we never have conversations. Very few parents will tell you that, no, I get my children, I sit them down and I tell them. Very few parents do that. And also the reason children are extremely vulnerable, or a lot more vulnerable, is because they lack parental guidance. A majority of parents, we come from the analog era. My generation, most of us come from the analog era, so we're still transiting.
BBC generation.
Yeah, we're still going through transition, right? And then often you would find that a majority of our generation, we really struggle. So you find that children pick things quickly, they learn technology quickly, but they still haven't developed to a point where they can distinguish.
Speaking of children, David, many phones, the current phones, are coming with the parental guide in the setting. Where do these parents fail while they have the option to monitor the phones when they give it to the children?
It's because a majority of parents are not taking time to learn technology and understand and explore ways through which they can integrate it into everyday parenting, right? So that is for children. So what we need is effective parental guidance. We need parents who are involved at every step of the way, so that they can provide the guidance that they need. The other group that is extremely vulnerable is the elderly, pensioners.
Wow.
And we are seeing this across the region, where they are being scammed. There's just a prevalence of online scams that is targeted at pensioners, because they also lack the knowledge of how to protect themselves. So we have seen this in South Africa, we're seeing this in Botswana, we're seeing this across Southern Africa, where pensioners are being targeted, and they are innocently and without thinking about it, sharing their credentials, and therefore they are losing money to scam us on that basis.
I think it's the same in Tanzania as well. I remember in the elections 2020, when the internet was shut down, some of the elders people were told, we can buy you a VPN, so give me money so that I can install you a VPN. So I can really relate. Back to Elizabeth. I know you are going to kick off this excited program in Tanzania. Can you tell us what are the cyber threats that you have already seen in Tanzania?
Actually, it's more for the threats are there more for the young people. Talking of children and youth, as well as the elderly as well. But the biggest threat is that we do not have certified digital fact checkers. There's some few fact checkers in the market, but they have not really been introduced to the market as the reliable fact checkers. When I'm saying reliable, I mean that a fact checker that the government is appealing to, the society is ready to accept, and we know where they get the fact checking level. So with that one itself, it's a big threat, because when you study, the thing is, we're in the third world. It has happened in the first world already, and it moved to the second world already, but we are here waiting for something to happen to react, business as usual, while we as Africa think tanks, we want to be more proactive. So the threat is the dynamics that we have in the politics, the dynamics that we have in the ecology and the relation and the related can come to bring some big surprise to Tanzanians, despite the fact that actually we have like two or one organizations that they call themselves fact checkers. But if you dig so deeper, digital fact checkers, if you dig deeper, you find that they're not recognized to that level. That means perhaps the government need to wake up to see there's a need to do something when it comes to that. Because as I speak today, now we are in the election time. You can agree with me, there's a lot that's going on in the social media. Some are truth, some are not, some are just bullying, some misinformation. But who is there to verify? If you just wait for TCRA to say something, it will be like, oh, no, the government is saying something. But if we at all we have a fact checker that is recognized by the government and another institution saying that, no, this is not it, you can always contact our office.
So what you as Africa's Think Tank Foundation are going to do?
We do expect to be number one organization, like the leading organization or the leading movement in addressing issues that relate to digital space. When you talk about cyberspace, the fact that, of course, with the Africa think tanks, we have a number of programs. That one I think we'll have another day to talk about. But actually the branding program, which is the Cybersmart Tanzania, as you can see, we want to do a proper campaign on Smartika Kidijiti to ensure that we have a Tanzania salama kidijiti through education, so that everybody who's using the cyberspace is very much aware what to do, not to do, how to do, and how to benefit from it.
And who are you going to target?
We're going to target all groups, and most importantly, the vulnerable groups. Children are number one. So these are those people that they just come to the world. It's just like a surprise. Hi, I'm here. I need a gadget. You see?
I'm excited to hear that you are going also to prioritize children. But the matter of fact is that children are not allowed to own the phone in schools. So how are you going to do it?
Okay. They are not allowed to own phones, but they are these people who are very inquisitive. So they always find a way to get one. I remember it was in 2007 when I was in school. There's some little fellas who had is it a tablet? We actually, by then we called it a small TV. They had a tablet and they were using it in the toilet.
Yeah.
And their parents did not know about it. So you can imagine, that was 2007. So this is 2025.
Where everything now has changed. Of course, they are not allowed to have phones in schools, but when they get home, some have given by their parents, but some are using the parents' phones. So my question is, as Africa's think tank foundation, how are you going to train these kids to make sure that they are staying safe? I believe we have to start educating these children while they are at school, because giving them phones when they are at university, they will have, in Kiswahili we call it ushamba, like they will be like, oh my God, I'm having smartphone now. Now I should use it to the fullest, you know. So how are we going to make these kids comfortable, like normalizing having computers, small TV,
Yes.
and these smartphones, iPhones, and other big phones? How are we going to make them feel normalized? You can start.
And it's not just about mobile phones or the use of mobile phones by children. Governments are introducing, technology, the use of computers in the classroom.
Of course.
And children need to have positive habits, behaviors, and attitudes towards those gadgets as well. They need to go to class with an understanding of how to use those tools meaningfully. So that's why you see a lot of focus on children, even in schools.
So Elizabeth, what will the program look like, especially for the students in schools?
Yeah, with the student schools, we're going to have different groups, because we do understand, despite the efforts that perhaps the teachers are putting on, and whatever effort that the parents are doing, still the children spend most of their time at school, and sometime during their holidays with their parents. So we anticipate that we need to work with the Parents Teachers Association.
Yeah.
Because the teachers have a lot to tell, from the character, from the behavior of the children, and with the parents as well. And perhaps, as much as I know, there are some schools here, they do not allow children to have smartphones, but there are some schools they do allow. Then perhaps through testimonials and exchange of what's really happening, not only from our Tanzanian babies, children, but also learning from others. As I said, we want to be proactive. Whatever damage that the cyber space has done or is doing currently, it has already happened in the first world. So we can learn from others what has happened and try to do better at our own space. So with the children, that is number one. But those are the ones that are in school. But we have organizations that advocates for children rights, children safety, and all the likes. There is a high need as Africa Think Tanks Foundation to come up with a policy that completely focuses on how we protect a child, and should be advocated not only with the government counterparts, because I do understand that the government are working on something related, but how about the NGOs? How about the schools? Who's doing what? How about the religious institutions? Because at the end of the day, we are living here today, believe me not. 20 years ago, Imani, 20 years ago, please, I reserve you. Don't call me auntie. We had another way of doing it.
Of course.
Like, what if I don't do something right, the neighbor can can me, she can can me, and if at all I try to act like I was right,
Of course, and we live
she can report it to my mother.
in a Swahili saying that says mtoto wa mwenzio ni mtoto wako, you know. the son or the daughter of your neighbor is your son or your daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah. But now we are no longer there.
We're the babies from the digital world. But anyway, with the Africa Think Tanks, what we want to do is to bring the best of whatever that we have benefited from. So we're going to have a campaign. Actually, now I'm talking about the children, but we have campaign in different groups: the girls, the youth, the elder, people living with disability, and so forth.
Wow.
But with the children themselves, it's high time we come up with a campaign that mark the need of taking care of what the future is.
I
The
see.
peace that we have, Tanzania is a center of peace in East, North, Central, and whatever
Africa at large.
Yes. Mandela came to Tanzania. The South Africans knows about it. Talk of Museveni, talk of Kagame, everybody came to Tanzania. Why? Because it's a center of peace. But why? Because we have our own way of doing things that keeps it peacefully.
Yeah.
So with the digital space, we can come up with different campaign statements that calls attention to every group, stakeholder, children themselves, to come with understanding. Perhaps we're going to have some books or they're related, whereby even the children themselves without their parents can come to understanding that, oh no, I don't need this. This is these people are trying to programming me to something that I'm not.
Yeah.
They should say no themselves, not from the parents. But where we're going to start, we're going to deal with the parents, the teachers, and the necessary associations that works with children.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Getting back to David, I know you have been working in many countries in Africa. I would love you to share with us what are the common cyber security threats in African countries today.
Yeah, and I've come to Tanzania too, just like Mandela, just like Museveni,
It's hope for everyone.
Of course.
and I'm loving it.
Peace
I'm
center.
loving it. I'm loving it. So, at the African Cybersmart Network, this is what we believe in, and this is why we saw it fitting to collaborate with Africa's Think Tank Foundation, because we are about building positive attitudes, habits, and behaviors. As Africa is increasingly becoming digitalized, the use of technology becomes part and parcel of everyday life. It's no longer just a technology issue. It's now a social issue. So the risks are, threats to societal well-being and even our own well-being as users. So what we are focusing on is to shape an African society that has positive attitudes towards technology and is able to adopt positive behaviors and habits that can then shape practices that will lead to us benefiting from the use of the internet, from the use of technology, or practices that will also lead to our safety, because we believe that your attitudes shape your habits shape your behaviors shape your practices. All right, so we're trying to model an African who has who's positive towards technology and able to use it in a manner that can benefit them and help them advance in life socially and economically, and also stay safe online. And here's why I'm laying that foundation, because your question was, what are the common risks?
Yeah.
Because we have observed that a majority of the risks, the vulnerabilities, are behavioral. It is our conduct, it is our behaviors online that puts us at risk. Because the technology most of the time comes with security features, safety features already embedded in them. That phone came with the ability for you to lock it. Social media accounts come with the ability for you to lock them. It is you, through your habits, who's going to go on social media and tell the whole world everything about your life and put yourself out there in a manner that you can easily become a target, right? It is you who's going to share something that will then come back to haunt you later in life. So the greatest vulnerability that we see in Africa and across Africa is, poor habits, user habits. right? People go on social media, they share whatever they want to share. Nowadays, we are seeing employers are going online to check, before they hire you for verification purposes. We see now Western countries are going online, to check before they give you a visa. And I have a typical example that I can use right now of how just something that you share innocently, thinking you're still a child, you're still, a young person, you don't need to get serious about life. A guy from Kenya was employed at CNN in Atlanta. And this guy, 10 years prior, when he was still in Kenya, he had posted that he supported ISIS, the terrorist group. And then he got a job in Kenya, in America later, and then he relocated to America. Then later on, somebody was able to come across the post on Twitter.
Wow.
10 years later.
10 years later. And he shared this. And the guy lost his job immediately. He was deported out of America. So what we are saying to Africans is that, these things, yes, it's nice to be online, it's exciting, but you need to be very cautious what you share, who you interact with, how you interact with those people. It was exciting at the beginning to have the maximum number of friends you could have on Facebook, as an example, like 5,000, I think. Nowadays it's not, because you have these 5,000 people that you are sharing your personal life with, and some of them are strangers. Do you really need to be telling strangers every detail about your life? Where you are, what you're doing, where you come from, who your siblings are, what the name of your dog, your address, all those things, because scammers, hackers are using that information to attack us. So for us, that's what we see. There are a lot of scams that are taking place in Africa. There's a lot of misinformation, and this misinformation and disinformation is taking advantage of low levels of literacy, news, information literacy, digital literacy. And also, we are seeing prevalent online harms, like online gender-based violence, like cyberbullying, because people are forgetting that these things can have a negative effect on somebody's well-being. So as psychologists, we study the negative effects of inappropriate use of technology on people's well-being, psychological well-being and mental well-being. So some online harms and cyber attacks can lead to depression, can lead, we have had incidents where young people have taken their lives because they were cyberbullied. In some of the countries that we work in, we see in schools in particular, young people, because they are not molded properly, they are not given the guidance that they need, they bully one another, they create groups, WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups. You go on those groups and then you see some of the things that they are saying about each other, nasty things that an African are far from the Ubuntu, the spirit of Ubuntu that is instilled, in us right from the beginning. These values that have sustained us as Africans over the years. So we are also losing that. So as we engage with communities, we also remind them who we are. When you go online, always remember who we are as Africans and the values, the principles that we must always carry with us. Because if we forget that, we are going to become a lost society.
So, David, I agree with you that a big challenge or a big gap is on awareness, and you are offering the knowledge and awareness across Africa. But when you increase your knowledge so that to navigate these cybersecurity challenges that people are facing, it's also at the same time the hackers, the scammers are also even advancing themselves. How do you keep up with the new technology trends and advancement that are happening in cybersecurity space?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we are playing catch up, and you are right. We are playing catch up.
Yeah.
The hackers and the scammers are always a step ahead. Then we react, and it's great that we have organizations such as the Africa's Think Tech Foundation saying we need to be proactive and not reactive. So what we need to do is we need to intensify public education. If we intensify public education, we make sure that digital literacy, digital citizenship is part and parcel of our school curriculums. We are educating our children right from the day that we introduce technology to them. When they get to school, life now is happening a lot more in on digital spaces, right? Economies are now driven by technology, so we need to understand that even in our life skills education, we are teaching for life skills in the digital era, not just life skills. Even online safety, as an example, or cybersecurity awareness should be part and parcel of every subject in school, whether it's language, whether it's geography, whether it's maths. There needs to be a component of cybersecurity in there, because a majority of these subjects, of these fields, or these disciplines are now digitalized. So it's important that as we are introducing technology in every discipline, in every aspect of society, there's also an element of safety in that, including, when it comes to issues of culture. That's why I'm emphasizing behaviors and habits, including where, when we are talking about, cultural values, there's also that element of, just because you're in digital spaces doesn't mean that we should forget about our values.
Yeah, I agree with you. Elizabeth, speaking about awareness, one of the challenge, even if someone understands that there's a report button, there's a block button, there's a restrict button, and whatever the button. But the challenge that we are facing now, especially in Tanzania, is the language barrier when it comes to technology. When you go to Instagram or any social media page, if you want to report something, every step is in English. So that means for those people who are not educated, who doesn't speak English, and for most of Tanzanians, Kiswahili is the first language and English is the learning language. How is this program going to solve this challenge, or helping people understanding, even in signs, that here I can block, here I can report, but also always these chatbots, the way they have been trained is they don't understand the difference, the variety of even Kiswahili language. There's a certain word that is just okay in Tanzania, but it's just a bad word in Kenya or in Zanzibar as well. How are we going to face that?
To start, is that we are very focused. Our focus is to ensure that tunapata kujenga Tanzania salama kidijitali kwa kutoa elimu jumuishi. Having that said, as much as we want kusmatika kidijiti, your language is not a problem. The problem is what you consume. Because when you talk of the cyberspace, there is a lot goes around. Some are in French, some are in whatever language that is it. As much as we are going to advocate for Cybersmart Tanzania, we will use the language that the majority can understand.
But what I mean is that the language that has been used in platforms, you can educate a person, you can report. Mtu akikubuli, you can just take this to the Instagram, and these big tech companies, they not take action on time. That's another challenge. But the primary challenge is the language, that nikitaka kuripoti, your Instagram iko in English, your X is in English. At least Facebook, they have tried here and there to make even a Swahili Facebook. But in other platforms, everything is English. So how is that someone going to be able to report after getting education from Cybersmart Tanzania and Africa's Think Tank Foundation?
Okay, we have designed a program that caters all groups. The ones who are learned, the ones who are there, and the ones who have nobody has thought of them. We all have them in the plan. So in the execution of training and capacity building on awareness, every group will be treated differently. So if I go to a primary school, the language that I will use, I won't use the one in which I use in the university. Even the reporting lines will be different. For instance, in the primary school, I'll tell them, report to your class teacher, report to your head teacher, whatever that you find out, in any language that you have to. You see? In the university, they're the same. The children who are not in school will find the right mechanism. But again, as I said, we are proactive, not reactive. Being proactive, we're going to deal with the very, very bad cases that we already have in the society. Perhaps they have not been addressed. Because actually our society, talking from parents, teachers, there's a lot has happened and nobody wants to talk about them. Some parents are sure that I've caught my son watching something like this, which is not good. But this guy is not ready to share it. Why? Because we feel like he will look like he's an irresponsible parent.
Yeah.
So we have PTAs, the Parents Teachers Associations. With the experience from my time from school to date, sometimes they look like they're weak organizations, but believe me not, they are the most strongest organization that will create the real people. If you talk of children, because a child spent like 8 hours at school, spent with the teachers. So the teachers knows your child more than what you think you know. And again, the parents has this DNA and all blah, blah, blah connected. So if I get the teacher, if I get the parent, and we come up with a mechanism that works, because what I do believe is that we cannot have a uniform tool.
Yeah.
What you can do at the township, it can be different from what you're going to do.
So
to
you
the
are
rural.
going to have a diversity tool
Exactly.
that fits every group.
Yes.
And
Okay.
even develop material, educational, informational
Yeah.
material, whether it's flyers, whether it's instructional videos for social media that people can use to learn, to understand, and even translate some of the knowledge that is already there, that has been developed into local languages for people to be able to understand.
Okay. At Cybersmart Africa, do you engage with big tech companies to make sure that they localize?
So sorry, Imani, before you answer that, we also have community radios, which are very close to the people. And actually, from my experience, I've been working with the media for a while. They have airtime. Not only have airtime, but they have people. They need to share some content that can capacitate, can help the people in that particular constituency or whatsoever. So all this will be used. We're going to use every tool possible to ensure that we get the message clear in the right language. What I will use in Timbuktu might be different from the what I will use in here in Dar es Salaam.
True. I agree, and that's nice. So, David, at Cybersmart Africa, do you engage with big tech companies to make sure that at least they localize their terms and references, their policies, and even their ways to report so that the cyberspace can be safe and inclusive for everyone?
Absolutely. We are constantly engaging with big tech companies so as to simplify their tools.
What has been the response? Because I see this has been a debate with many organizations that are on digital rights, cyberspace, advocating for safety, equality and inclusion. But every organization has their experience. What's yours?
Yes, absolutely. I think we're moving a bit slow, in terms of the reaction that we are getting from our partners in the big tech companies. But we are constantly engaging, developing, exploring possibilities for programs that we can roll out. But what I like is that, currently there's a lot of effort on digital skills, because for us to localize content, we also need to develop skills locally and have people who can speak Swahili, who understand how to use technology, and they're able to develop that. That is an opportunity for locals who are into coding, into programming, who can then take this content that is in English and translate it into Swahili for use by local people, so that they can be able to be included in the broader digital economy. Yes, we are making an effort to create those opportunities, but I believe the tools are there also, and that can also come, or that also comes easily when the people are informed, they are educated, and they are able to see opportunities before them and use these tools. Young people especially, they have these smart tools. Young people have access to computers. The best way is to guide them to effective, meaningful use of these tools, so that they can create those solutions for Tanzanians.
Nice. We are running out of time. My last question will be to you, David.
Yes.
What do you think about the laws and policies that we have in Africa regarding cybersecurity? Are they friendly to everyone?
My challenge is that we are playing catch up, even in regulation. And also we wait until the Western countries have done something, and then we act. I'll give you an example with data protection. Everybody is looking at what Europe is doing, the GDPR, and trying to come up with data protection regulations that are modeled around the GDPR. Sometimes I think in Africa we have our own way of doing things, and we must not always wait for the Western countries to do something and then try and copy. It doesn't always work. We need to be very proactive, even in the development of laws and policies that are that can address some of the challenges that we have, and even open up opportunities. So I think we are moving very slow when it comes to formulating policies that can help us really adopt meaningful use or promote or advance meaningful use of technologies, particularly when it comes to advancing lives, socially and economically. There are so many opportunities in digital spaces.
I see.
We shouldn't have a large number of our youthful population on the streets doing nothing without taking advantage of those opportunities, or a large number of our people being scammed, being harmed online, our children being harmed online, when we can do something about it instantly.
True. Elizabeth, I would love you to also answer the same question, but in Tanzanian context. Do you think our laws and policies are friendly and are enough to make sure that everyone is safe online?
First and foremost, we have laws.
Can you put your microphone closer?
First and foremost, we have laws and regulations that majority of the Tanzanians do not know anything about them. Starting with the journalists themselves. I remember last year we had to review the online content regulation, and I invited journalists. Let's go through this so that we know how we navigate without crossing some lines. It was so unfortunately that majority of the journalists themselves, actually, as a journalist, supposed to know that before
anyone else.
Yes, they don't know what it takes to do what they have to do. So with the Africa Think Tanks Foundation, we see there's a room to do some policy and regulation analysis. That's the very first thing. We don't need to take this to the children. We need to do it ourselves. Because if me and you do not know the online content regulation, what can a child do? Seriously. It will be a mess. It's like a trap that you do something and then you just get into problems. So we're going to do a lot of policy and analysis, and with different stakeholders, journalists being one of them, we can advise the right authorities on the more practical way to navigate or to prepare for all these changes that are coming in. Because now we're talking of, there's advancement in technology. Believe me not, in the next 10 years, we'll be talking another story.
So, Elizabeth, what are the gaps that you have already seen in our laws and regulations regarding cyber security?
Number one, the regulations are in English. And the majority are comfortable with Swahili. I don't mean that they do not understand English, no. Majority.
There are so many people who doesn't understand
Absolutely. Like the urban people.
Yeah.
The rural area, majority of them, English is not their day-to-day language.
Yes.
So if we have regulations in a language that people understand, it can perfect it by itself. Because the people will say, no, this is not what we want. No way, this is neat. That's number one. Another thing is that we need some clear case studies that link whatever that has been proposed there to the real life of a local Tanzanian. Because given in mind, some of these policies or regulations are the best practice of elsewhere. So there might be a best practice from your end that won't really work in my end, but it's still a best practice. So as Africa Think Tank Foundation, we're looking forward to have different forums to analyze. We're going to do analysis of the policies and regulations and share the suggestions of the people, be it the journalists, be it the CSOs, because with the forums we do intend to have all groups on board. So people will say, we think this should go like this. With this article, what? Perhaps they need to review it. And the good thing that, I really thank God I belong to Tanzania, they work it. Even if you go with 20 things, at least 10 will be answered. So that's what we do expect to go and work with.
Wow. Thank you so much, Elizabeth and David, for joining us today. It was really, really a fruitful conversation. I hope even our audience will enjoy and will have something to learn. And of course, we are expecting more from the Cybersmart Tanzania. And we are looking forward to Smartika Kidijiti. Yeah.
It's a new word.
Hashtag that.
Yeah, kabisa.
We have to just declare it's a new word, Smartika.
Yeah, we can't wait to Smartika Kidijiti, and maybe it's supposed to be in Kiswahili dictionary, in Kamusi, Bakita's Kamusi. Yeah, asanteni sana for watching, and tafadhali subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can listen also to this conversation in all digital platforms.
This is Dig It with Imani, the podcast.